And I believe we're kind of staying with sport, aren't we? Because he's here. Can we show him?
Yeah,
Come on, Ricky.
morning.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, Ricky. How are you?
I'm great, yeah.
You sound a little bit croaky.
I am, yeah. A bit of a sore throat, but no.
Have you been shouting too much?
In good form, yeah.
Did we not offer you a cup of tea when you came in?
Yeah.
Should we
I've had
get
a cup
one?
of tea, in the room.
Maybe some hot honey and lemon. We'll send you away.
Ricky here this morning because you have a new book out, and I love the title of the book. Ricky Hatton's Vegas Tales. It goes on to say, "Me in Las Vegas. What could possibly go wrong?"
Yeah,
It's
a great read. I think my greatest ever boxing win was the night I beat Kostya in Manchester, which ironically is the 10-year anniversary next week. But I think most people will remember me as for me Las Vegas fights. In many ways, me and the supporters, the fantastic supporters I had, we took over Vegas in many ways, and so many people have got their own funny story tales about them going over there for the Mayweather fights. 30,000 went over for the Mayweather fight, so and pretty much all the stories are in there.
Well, we're going to pick your brain about some of the stories because they had us chuckling, certainly. But let's just remind everyone of you in action.
It's a different Hatton to the one we've often seen. This.
Oh, good body shot from Hatton. Oh, great shot! It was the left hook that did it, and the body puncher has been fouled.
That takes Hatton to the superstar status in world boxing.
This is where Hatton wants to be. This is working well for him.
Well, Ricky, watching that, you were just saying you actually remember every single fight. I can't believe that.
I'm very fortunate, without the amount of punches he had on the nose. I can remember pretty much all my fights, even all my amateur fights from my first fight when I was 11 years of age. But lots of great memories there, yeah.
And one of the things I noticed about the book is you remember the stories about being in Las Vegas in phenomenal detail, but some of the stories are difficult to forget, aren't they?
Yeah,
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. I was, very fortunate because I always see myself as the lad from the council estate. That when, boxing and working men's clubs and places like that. So when I see like my name up in lights in Vegas and fighting such as people like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, who will go down as two of the greatest of all time, it makes me feel I still have to pinch myself. It would be a great time.
Go on, Pay. I love some of these stories. Are so funny. So there was one story about when I think you were invited by David Beckham to go back after. Was this after a fight or when you're in Vegas to a private function he was holding in a gathering, and you went into the room not knowing who was there? Just take us through the list.
Yeah, it was me and my brother Matthew. It was the day after the fight, and the Spice Girls were performing at the Mandalay Bay. So David invited us in one of the boxes, so me and my brother walked in, and the box was very deep, and at the back of the box there was a couch there, and there was this lady saying there with a gentleman lay across with his head on the lady's lap.
So he's lying on the
on the lap, and me and we walked in, and my brother Matthew just went, "All right, mate, why don't you just put your feet up, like that?" And I just went, "Matthew, have you seen who that is?" He went, "No, who is it?" I went, "It's Tom Cruise."
And who else was in the room? Because it was an extraordinary gathering, wasn't it? Who else was in the room?
Sarah Ferguson was in. David was in. Tom Cruise was in. Katie Holmes, his obviously wife at the time. It was very, 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 very surreal. But it's typical my brother fashion. We'd had a few drinks and we walked in and he said, "Put your feet up, mate." He said, "Look at him there with his feet up on the couch. How disrespectful."
Always a time for manners.
Matthew, have you seen who it is?
Did it ever stop becoming, because you were surrounded by celebrities and in Vegas and you were part of this world, did it ever stop becoming special to you?
No.
Did you ever stop pinching yourself?
No, I'll never stop pinching myself, probably till the day I die. And it went round the circuit in Vegas that Ricky Hatton allowed people in his changing room to watch him warm up before the fight, which is very unusual. A lot of boxers like to be private and let themselves be kept to themselves. But I used to like everyone in my changing room. I used to have my mates from school cheering me on. It used to sign me up. But the word around the circuit must have gone round, and you'd have people like Denzel Washington coming in to watch you, watching you warm up, and Sylvester Stallone, and I think for
Did you give it a bit more when Sylvester Stallone was watching?
Did a bit, you know, when, in true fashion, as soon as he walked in, he went, "Oh, Rocky, how are you?" Instead of Sylvester Stallone. But I mean, when I fought Paulie Malignaggi, the Oasis boys carried the belt in, and in the changing rooms at one point we had Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Oasis, David Beckham. It's like, you know.
You've become a shameless name dropper, haven't you?
Yeah,
that's,
you know,
that's what the book is full of famous names. But you're obviously a lifelong Manchester City supporter. But you did ask Wayne Rooney to carry your belt in once, didn't you?
That's right.
Why did you do that?
I met Wayne on a few occasions, and I see a lot of me different sports, obviously, but I see very much of myself with him. You know, he's not somebody who would we say, you know, full of himself. You know, he's down to earth. What you see is what you get. He wears his heart on his sleeve on the football pitch. He's very, very passionate at what he does, and there's very similarities in that. You know, if you had, you know, Wayne does play for the enemy, but I mean, if in Manchester City, if we had 11 like Wayne Rooney, you'd be happy. You know, that wears his heart on the sleeves and gives it 100%, and he did on the pitch, why did in the boxing ring, really. So we got on very well.
The last time we met, Ricky, was on the sofa, and you were just about to go into your comeback fight. And you've been very, very honest over the years about the problems you had in the past. And I remember when you left the studio, I was genuinely a bit worried about you. In as much as, you know, the decision you were taking to go back into the ring and try one more time after everything had gone on. I mean, how do you look back on that time now? Are you glad you tried? And was your decision-making all good, do you think, over that period of time?
It was the best decision I think I ever made, to be honest with you. I mean, when you're in a sport as serious as boxing, you know, you've got to be doing it for the right reasons, which is to try and win the world title, or, you know, or just beat the man in front of you. But I was doing it because I felt I'd cheated a lot of, you know, I'd let a lot of fans down with the way my life fell to pieces. The only thing I can ask for is a bit of sympathy, because I was a very, very poorly person at the time. I was very suffered bad from very, very depression. You know, I was suicide attempts. It couldn't have been any worse for me. But I wanted to make a comeback. You know, I didn't want, you know, fight after fight after fight after fight. I just wanted to, after all my problems, come back and make people proud again, and that's what it did. So in the end, it ended in defeat, but it was a success for me.
Some people would say that the boxing world, it's intense, and you're well aware of this, from the intense training you put in the run-up to each fight, to the personal and emotional and mental problems you suffered as being part of that industry. Why didn't you just leave it?
No, it's very, very hard. I mean, I always say now that the proudest moment of my boxing career, the proudest achievement I had, was the fan base. I mean, I'm not going to say by any means that I was the greatest British world champion we've ever had, but I don't think I'm proud to say nobody had a fan base, you know, like me. And the reason why I think I had the fan base was because I was exciting to watch, but I think people could relate to me. I was no different to the people that supported me in the stand. You know, I go watching football, I go to the pub and play on my local darts team. You know, there's no real airs and graces with me. And I always had this boy next door persona, but then when I was poorly and when I was doing what I was doing, I thought, I've let these people down here that have paid fortunes to watch me over the years fight in Vegas. And like I say, I can only ask for sympathy because I was very, very poorly, but I think the fans could, in the end, they could say, listen, we all have problems, and Ricky's had them, and he's come past them, and you can't ask for more than that. Well done, Ricky. And that meant the world to me.
Do you recognise and can you appreciate the fact that, you know, we see these big bouts now that, you know, it costs $20,000 or whatever for a ticket that the ordinary person can't go to? How much do you appreciate the fact that one of the things you're most famous for is that huge travelling fan base of ordinary people who saved up their hard-earned cash to go and watch you?
It was really, and you know, I can relate to like I said earlier, I can relate to the fans. You know, we've obviously, you know, you'll never find me on a red carpet. You never see me in the jungle eating all them terrible things. You know, I just like.
You say that now.
I just like me simple. I just like a simple life. I just like, you know, being around my family, being around my friends, the same friends, just going to the local places I've been to all my life, and you know, you can't kid the public. I think what they see, I'd like to think what they see is a genuine guy, and I think that's why I had the fan base that I did. And 30,000, you know, if we had 30,000 people travel to watch England in the World Cup, we'd be absolutely delighted. But 30,000 went to watch an individual, and I'll be forever eternally grateful. And about 30,000 people have all got their story to tell of Las Vegas, and it's like, there's a few celebrities in the book. There's my team. There's myself.
A few?
Yeah, and there's also fans as well. You know, giving their views, you know, on it. So it's whether you're a boxing fan or a sports fan or a non-boxing fan, I think you can't help but read that and chuckle, you know. So
I think that's true.
We wish you well, Ricky.
Thank
I
you.
hope the voice comes back.
Yeah, it will do. Yeah.
Ricky Hatton's Vegas Tales is out this week.
Now, thanks very much as well. 8:50 the time. Let's